Hi everyone, let us study a new lesson, environment. Some of you might mispronounce it as environment or environment. No, the method of pronouncing that word is environment. So, in your textbook, page number 151. Okay, take the lesson please. It's an interview with Wangari Mathai. Her full name, Wangari Mathai. Environmental activist. So, she was an environmental activist and Nobel Prize winner. Okay, from 1940 to 2011. So she was from 1940 to 2011. Okay. See, she was a Kenyan social environmentalist. She was from Kenya and she was a social environmentalist. Okay. And she is known for a green belt movement. So it is given here. She started green belt movement. So this green belt movement planted 51 million trees. The organization was founded in the year 1977. The organization planted 51 million trees. So that was their main program. Okay. So it's an interview with our Wangari Mathai. Okay. And she was a Nobel Prize winner. See, she was the first African woman to win the Nobel Prize. She was the first African woman to win the Nobel Prize or Nobel Prize. Nobel Prize, have you heard of that? I know that many of you might know it. So actually Nobel Prize is given for 5 eminent personalities in the field of physics, chemistry, medicine, literature and above all peace. Nobel Prize for Peace. It's an irony that it is one most important among the prizes is a Nobel Prize for Peace. Do you know why I said it's an irony? Do you know who this Nobel? Alfred Nobel. You see, he was a Swiss, a chemist. It is he who invented this dynamite. So dynamite was a turning point in the history of science and warfare too. Explosive. Not only dynamite, he made many inventions on explosives. Explosives, many type he invented. And it brought him a lot of money, huge fortune. By the end of his life, he might have felt sorry for this invention because it caused widespread death and destruction of thousands and lakhs of people. He might have felt sorry for that. Maybe he might have felt sorry for that. Okay, so at the end of his life, he kept aside a huge amount to be given prizes for eminent personalities. Okay, so but during his time, in his lifetime, he was the cause for the death of thousands of people. Do you know what he was called by the press during his lifetime? He was known as the angel of death. That is why I said it is an irony, maybe a joke. You see, a man who is known as an angel, angel of death, you see, constituting a prize for peace. Okay, now he was hated by many people during his time when he was alive, because he was a real cause behind all this invention of these explosives, including one among them is dynamite. Anyhow, by the end of his life, he had a great fortune, lot of money and all. So he set aside a huge amount of money to be given as prize for all these fields like science, then medicine, and Nobel Prize for Peace also. Okay, na? I simply told by way of introduction. Okay, so okay. Let us continue with our lesson. Read the excerpts from, it is taken from her interview with Nippon Hoso Kyokai, NHK Radio, Japan. NHK Radio. So they are conducting, an interview with her, and we are getting some part of it. Okay, now. So let us move on with our lesson. NHK Radio. How did you become aware of the environment? See, how did you become aware of the environment? Wangari Mathai. From the time we started, yes, from the time we started, what's that? The green belt movement, that's what she mean. From the time we started, we were trying to respond to the basic needs of people. So we were responding, answering, giving our response to the basic needs of people in rural areas, that is in villages, rural and urban. Okay, now, so we were responding to the basic needs of people. Yes, and people were asking for clean drinking water, the basic needs, the primary needs of man, food, shelter. Okay, now, drinking water, for food, then for energy, which is mostly firewood. For them, the source of energy is nothing but firewood. Okay, now, yes, for building material, for fodder for the animals, food for their domesticated animals. Okay, now, yes, so they were asking their basic needs like food, water, firewood, etc. and etc. And all these come from the land. We get all these from the land. So we knew that what the people in rural areas were asking for had to do with the environment. So we knew that, what the people in rural areas were asking for. So what they were asking for had to do with the environment. So it is related with, directly connected with our environment. So we knew from the beginning that the basic needs of man, food, shelter, then firewood, then all those things, food for the animals, all these things are directly connected with our environment. They did not have those things because they did not have, people in the rural areas did not have these things because the environment was degraded. Yes, that is the main problem. That was the main problem. Degraded means polluted, damaged or destroyed, polluted mainly. Okay, now the environment was polluted in many ways. That's the main reason we are fighting for. Yes, they did not have those things because the environment was degraded. So from the very beginning, we understood that we have to rehabilitate the environment. Okay, now? Yes, we have to rehabilitate the environment. So we understood from the very beginning that the most important problem we have to do, the solution is only rehabilitating, yes, the environment. That is our main problem because environment was degraded, polluted, destroyed and damaged. So we have to rehabilitate. Find a new home means re-establish. Lost one should be re-established. That was our main task. We understood from the very beginning. From the beginning we understood that the first task, main task for us was to rehabilitate the environment. Okay, now the first question is answered. How did you become aware of the environment? So how you got aware, how you became aware of the environmental problems. So what is the answer? From the beginning we understood that the basic needs of man, of the people in the rural areas is directly connected with the land and the environment. So environment is degraded and it should be rehabilitated. Yes. Next line is very important. The forested mountains were the source of water. This paragraph, very often asked for paragraph answers. The forested mountain, underline that word, all of you. Not simply mountain. The forested mountain. Mountain with the forest. Okay now? It was the source of water. Yes, the source of water. The water comes from mountain with the forest. Forested mountain. Underline that word. Forested mountain. It was a source of rain. Yes, we get rain from there. Source of rain from the mountain. Not simple mountain. Forested mountain. Yes. And so when you deforestation, is it not so? So when you cut the trees and destroy the forest, you destroy the ecosystem. Is it not so? Yes. When you deforest, you cause a shortage of water. As a result of deforestation, there will surely come. What's that? Shortage of water. And a change of rainfall pattern. Is it not so? Rainfall pattern also will be changed as a result of deforestation. And therefore, people are not able to get food and water. So what is the source of water? Forested mountain. So when you deforest, there will be change of rain pattern, shortage of water, and as a result of that, people are not able to get food and water. Okay, now this line is very important from the point of paragraph answers. There can be direct question. You see, what is the source of water? Yes, the forested mountain is a source of water. And when you deforest, there will be change of shortage of water because of change of rain patterns, and people are not able to get food and water. Therefore, in order for them to have good environment that can sustain their livelihood, which can maintain, keep up their livelihood, isn't it so? How can they live every day? It is important to have a government that accounts to them. A government that accounts, accountability of the government. Generally, governments won't be accountable to the people. They rule on their own. They don't care about the people at large. Or majority of people are not cared. So we were in need of a government that is accountable to them, answerable to them, that protects them. Government should protect them. And protects their interests. Their interests should be protected. That is concerned about their lives. A government that is concerned about their lives. So we were in need of a government that is that accounts to them, that protects them, and that protects their interests, and that is concerned about their lives. This paragraph is very important. There can be 2-3 questions from that. Even 1 or 2 sentences. You know the method of examination. One sentence given also, there can be more than one question. First sentence especially. The forested mountains were the source of water and the source of rain. And when you deforest, you will cause shortage of water because the rainfall pattern might change. Yes. So, all these things are there. Therefore, in order for them to have good environment that can sustain their livelihood, you see, it is important to have a government that accounts to them, is accountable to them, answerable to them, that protects them, that protects their interests, that is concerned about their lives. Then comes the next second question. How is peace connected with a good environment? How peace is connected with, good environment? Many wars that are fought in the world are fought over natural resources. Many wars have been fought for natural resources. Some wars are fought because the environment is so degraded. Some wars are fought because the environment is degraded, polluted. See, that is not able to support. That is not able to support communities, and so they fight over a little that is left. Yes, the government is not able to support communities, so they fight over little that is left. Only it is left, and they fight for that. Others are fought, other wars are fought because some people want to take a lot of resources to control them and to keep many other people out. That's the main problem. For India also, what? See, the 85% of India's wealth is in the hands of 55% of rich people. I repeat, the 85% of India's wealth is in the hands of 15% of the rich. So the vast majority, their life is always same. No change. 5-year plans were there, many improvements had been there. Independence of, we had been independent for 70, 73 years. But the average Indian, his condition is always the same. Is it not so? Not moving up. Yes. So why? Because some people, want to take a lot of the resources. Yes. Some people want to take a lot of the resources. And to keep many other people out. So some rich people, they control the majority of the wealth in many ways. And the remaining majority, they have only a little part of the entire, wealth, the country has got. Not in India, in general, that is a condition. Okay, now, our N. Narayanamurthy in an essay said, God has given for everybody's need, not for everyone's greed. People are greedy. They want to get more and more and more. Those who are, rich, they would be amassing wealth more and more and more. So that some people always remain out of that wealthy, group of people. They will remain always poor. The rich become richer and the poor become poorer according to Indian economic system. Okay, let's move on to the next page. Now, whether this happens at the national level, this exploitation by the rich and the poor always remaining poor, or at the regional level, or even at the global level. So it happens. Sooner or later there is discontent. This exploitation always going on. But sooner or later, today or tomorrow, there will be discontent. Means dissatisfaction among the people, those who are remaining poor. And when the discontent is strong enough, there is conflict. There might be fight, struggle, people would agitate. Is it not so? When the discontent becomes stronger and stronger, there will be conflict. That is why Karl Marx said there will be class war. When there is a gap between rich and the poor. You see, two classes, the rich and the poor. See, there will be class war. When the discontent, dissatisfaction, anger will be strong. The reason for all kinds of revolution in the past, the same was the reason. There will be so much discontent among the poor people especially. See, French Revolution, for example, now, so the tax only poor people were supposed to give. The privileged people, rich people, they were exempted from taxation. So whenever government was in need of money, they would tax the poor people. So the discontent was moving up and up until they burst out into a revolution. So the discontent here will become strong and stronger, and there might come a conflict. Okay, now, and when the discontent is strong enough, there is conflict. There will be, surely there will be conflict. So good management for the natural resources. So what we are in need of? Good management for the natural resources. Equitable distribution of these resources. Yes, these resources should be equitably distributed. Is important for peace. For peace to remain, all these things are necessary. What are things are necessary? What all things are necessary? See, good management of natural resources. Yes, good management of natural resources. Then, equitable distribution of these resources is important for peace. At the same time, good management of the natural resources is not possible if you do not have a democratic space. If there is no democracy, this good distribution or equitable distribution of natural resources is not at all possible. Yes, respect for human beings. You must be respecting each and every individual. Respect for human rights. Rights should be respected. Giving other people dignity. Yes, dignity of status. Is there no preamble itself? Is it not so? Yes, dignity of status should be guaranteed for each and every citizen of a country. So all these things are required. She is explaining. That is why the three themes are related. The three themes are related. Like the African stool, which with 3 legs and the basin on which you sit. Generally, stool means, it is 4 legs. Here, African stool has only 3 legs. 3 legs in this way placed, and in the middle, something like a basin would be placed. There you can sit. In which you sit, the 3 legs. One is peace. Number 1, peace. The other leg is good governance, good administration, governance. The third leg is a sustainable management of resources. Remember the 3 legs of African stool. Number 1, what's that? Peace. Number 2, good governance. Number 3, sustainable management of resources. Yes. When you have those 3 legs, if you have got all these 3 legs, what are they? Peace, good governance, and a sustainable management of resources. When you have all those 3 legs, now you can put the basin, which is a development. What does it mean? Development is possible only these 3 things are available. First, we need to have these 3 things. Then only then development is possible. And if you try to balance the stool without those 3, it won't happen. If any of these things are lacking or it is not there, development is not possible at all. We have not shared our resources equitably. That's the main problem. So we have not shared our resources equitably. After 73 years of independence, the gap between haves and have-nots so wide and vast in India. So do you know there are more than 8 crores of people in India, 8.4 or something, below poverty line. What is poverty line actually? Poverty line, have you heard of that? Yes, there is no line drawn on anyone's head. You are below poverty, other one is above poverty. No, what is that? A man who is not able to earn 27 rupees in villages and 32 in cities is below poverty line. A man who is unable or not able to earn 27 rupees in villages. How can a man live with 27 rupees? Have you ever thought of that? 1 kg rice will cost you 50 rupees, 55 rupees. Is it not so? So you cannot get a kilogram of rice without 55 rupees. Okay, some item might be there, 45 also may be there. Average 50 rupees per 1 kg rice. If a man cannot earn 27 rupees, he is below poverty line. Can a man live with 27 rupees a day? No, he cannot. He cannot fill his stomach even for one time. A day. That means not able to eat his stomach full once a day. He is below poverty line. In such a way, 8 crores of people are in India. Then what this government is doing, I don't know. After all these decades of independence, we have not, improved even little. Maybe little improvement may be there. Even during the time of independence also, it was a big question. Whether we should give importance to labor-oriented development or capital-oriented development. See, capital means a huge amount of money is invested on factories or industries, etc. But employees will be very less. Labor-oriented means what? More employees will be working. That means all are getting employment. So in a country like India, with a population of 130 crore, which is more preferable, we have to think twice. Because as I have already said, 8 crore, more than 8 crores of people are below poverty line in India. So we cannot say that equitable distribution of natural resources is available in India also. Is it not so? Do you know the richest man of India, Mukesh Ambani? Isn't it? His house Antila in Mumbai. So he pays 77 lakhs for his monthly electricity bill. Is it his fault? No. We should salute him because he gives job to thousands and thousands of people. An average Indian pays electricity bill how much? 70 rupees or 75. And he pays 77 lakhs per 1 month. I'm not blaming him, but you understand the difference between haves and have-nots, rich and the poor. So the reason is that equitable distribution of natural resources is not there in India also. Is it not so? She speaks not about India, but we can understand our background. Same thing here also. Yes. So we have not shared our resources equitably. We have allowed some people, especially those in power, especially those who are in power, to acquire a lot at the expense of the majority. They amass a lot of wealth. That is why MPs, MLAs, they are all crorepathies. What about the poor people? Even the petroleum price is rising up, they don't care. Because an MLA would get, a monthly allowance of around 1,20,000 per month. Isn't it so? Is it per month or per year? I don't remember. So, lakhs and lakhs of rupees he can. See, spend for, not spend, is free for him. For ministers, petrol, diesel, and free. Everything free. So they don't care where the petroleum price goes, go up or diesel price goes up. They don't care now. Ruling, is a system or ruling party or part of administration, those who are in power. So they don't care how the poor people are suffering because of this price rise. So what we are discussing here is, we have allowed some people, especially those in power, to acquire a lot at the expense of the majority. They are amassing a lot of wealth. MLAs, MPs, ruling party leaders, they are all crorepathies. They are getting this money because of our tax. Is it not so? Yes. At the expense of the majority. And we have also engaged in conflict. Another reason we always engage in many kinds of fight, war, etc. and etc. It will also hinder or prevent our economic growth. Okay, next question. What was the environment like when you were young and how did you go about saving it? Yes. So, when you were young, so you think when you were young, how was it? See, what was the environment like when you were young? So, when you were young, how was it? Environment. And how did you go about saving it? How did you try to save the environment? When I was a child, which is almost more than 50 years ago, the environment was very pristine. Pristine is very fresh and clean, very beautiful and very green. We were a British colony. And the British government at that time started to clear cut the indigenous forests. So clear and cut and remove. You see, the indigenous means native born. So they began cutting out, removing the native forests in our forested mountains. Yes, they began removing, cutting, clearing forest from our forested mountains because they wanted to establish commercial plantations of exotic species of trees. They wanted commercial plantations. It would never become a forest. Forest means naturally it should grow. See, naturally growing plants in a natural situation. Okay, natural background, natural environment. Then only it becomes a forest. There will be trees, big trees, birds, animals, living in their natural environment. Then only it becomes a forest. So if you cut and remove all the forest and we plant some costly plantations like teak wood, etc., we may get some money at the end. But that is not the real forest. It will damage the environment. The ecosystem will be damaged. Yes, imbalance would be there. So they wanted to establish commercial plantations of exotic species of trees such as the pines, you see, from the northern hemisphere, and the eucalyptus from Australia. So they began bringing these commercial plantations and they destroyed the forests and planted those, trees. These trees are very nice, they grow tall. Trees are very nice, they will grow tall also, and they grow very fast. They will grow fast. But as they grow, they destroy all the local biological diversity. Diversity is possible only in naturally grown, forests. Yes. So that only is possible. If you plant some trees, it will never become a forest. So as they grow fast, what happens? They destroy all the local biological diversity. Remember that as the big trees grow up, commercial plantation, as they grow up, they will destroy, what do they destroy? The local biological diversity. All the flora and fauna disappeared, meaning of flora and fauna, okay? Yes, they will disappear. So although we were getting commercial timber, we were getting timber for the growing timber industry, we also destroyed our local flora and fauna. Okay, na? That is a big problem for us. As a result, these forests, which were the water towers, the source of water, the tower of water towers they were no longer able to contain the water. Yes, trees are cut and removed, some plantation only was there, so they were not able to hold the water. You see, the water was not going into the soil. Is it not so? And no longer able to contain the water, because water would not go inside, they would simply flow out, that's all. So when the rains fell, the water ran downstream and ended in the lakes and oceans. It won't go into the soil. That's the problem. See, deforestation will cause that. It won't go into the soil. So it will flow, move away into the lakes and oceans instead of going down into the underground. That's a big problem. Instead of going into the soil, it will flow away into the rivers, streams, and finally into the sea. And it is lost forever. Yes. See, going down into the underground reservoir. So it can be called underground reservoir, so that it would come back to us in the form of rivers. So if it goes down, there will be nearby streams, rivers will be there after some time. But here what happens? It flows off and reaches into the sea. One thing we noted is that not only did the rain pattern change, it became less. Rainfall pattern changed as well as rain become comparatively less. But also the rivers started drying up. Slowly, the rivers all started drying up. So we lost our local biological diversity. As a result of that, we lost our local biological diversity. So there is a lot of damage to our environment. As a result of that, it caused a lot of damage to our environment. That is why in 1975, at the very first UN conference for women in Mexico, many of the women were saying, we need food, we need water, we need clean drinking water, and we need fodder for our animals. We already told that. Yes, these are our needs. We need food, water, a clean drinking water, and food for our animals. And I was wondering what has happened. These are things that were there 20 years ago when I was a child. She recollects, she remembers that when she was a child, all these things were there. Once upon a time it was there, but now not there. The environment had changed, and that is when I started this campaign to restore, I began this campaign to restore the vegetation and to restore the land and to rehabilitate the forests. Yes, our movement was for this. For what? To restore the vegetation, number one. It means plants, trees and all. So restore the vegetation and restore the land, degraded land, polluted land. We want to restore it and to rehabilitate the forests. And finally, we wanted to rehabilitate the forests. So we cannot complete the entire lesson in one video. We'll complete in 2 videos. Okay. So let us stop there and continue in the next video. Once again, read the lesson. If there's a doubt, let me know it. I will clarify. Thank you.